Have you ever wondered why, out of the thousands of animal species in the world, dogs became humanity's best friend? Not tigers, not foxes, not bears. Dogs. An animal whose ancestors were once wild wolves. A creature that lived in the shadows, hunted in packs, stayed alert to every movement, and carried a powerful survival instinct deep in its blood. So what happened? Why were humans able to domesticate dogs? Or maybe the better question is, did humans truly domesticate dogs? Or did dogs also choose to step into human life? Most of us imagine the story began in a very simple way. Ancient humans found wolf pups, raised them, trained them, and over many generations, wolves gradually became dogs. It sounds reasonable. Humans were smarter. They used tools. They made fire. They lived in groups. So naturally, humans controlled animals and turned them into companions. But when you look deeper, the story may have happened the other way around. Humans may not have gone looking for dogs first. Instead, the ancestors of dogs may have been the ones who came closer to humans first. Imagine a night from a very distant past. A group of ancient humans sits around a fire. Around them is darkness, cold forest, wind, and sounds they cannot see. After eating, they leave behind bones, scraps of meat, and small pieces of food scattered around the camp. And from the edge of the darkness, a few wolves begin to watch. Being near humans was dangerous, but being near humans also meant food. Wolves that were too aggressive would likely be chased away or killed. Wolves that were too fearful would never dare come close. But there was a special group in between. Wolves that were less afraid of humans, less aggressive, curious enough to move closer, yet smart enough to keep their distance. They did not rush in to attack. They simply watched. Night after night, they came a little closer. At first, they stayed only at the edge of the camp. Then they moved closer to where the leftovers were. And slowly, humans began to get used to their presence. And perhaps right there, one of the strangest relationships in history began. Two different species. They did not share the same language. They did not share the same instincts. And yet, both began learning how to accept each other. What is interesting is that the wolves most capable of living near humans were not necessarily the strongest or the fiercest. They were the ones that could control themselves, calm enough not to attack, curious enough not to run away, flexible enough to understand that humans were not only a danger, but also a possible chance at survival. Over many generations, wolves like these had a better chance of surviving around humans. They had more access to food. They reproduced closer to human camps. Their offspring grew up with less fear of people. And little by little, the distance began to shrink. From unfamiliar to familiar. From caution to acceptance. From acceptance to dependence. And from dependence to attachment. But humans also had reasons to let them stay. In the ancient world, night was not safe. There were no concrete walls, no door locks, no streetlights, only fire, darkness, predators, and fear lying quietly beyond the edge of the camp. A wolf standing near humans could be a threat. But if it heard strange sounds before humans did, smelled danger before humans could, or reacted when an unknown presence came close, it could also become a living alarm system. A sound in the middle of the night. An unfamiliar scent in the wind. A tiny movement in the darkness. The ancestors of dogs may have noticed it first. And from that moment on, humans no longer saw them only as creatures eating their leftovers. Humans began to realize these animals could help them survive. But if this relationship had been built only on usefulness, it would not have lasted until today. Because humans have domesticated many animals. Cows gave milk. Horses helped with travel. Sheep provided wool. Chickens gave eggs. But no other animal stepped as deeply into the human heart as the dog. So the real question is not only, why were humans able to domesticate dogs? The deeper question is this: why was the dog the one species that could move from the edge of the darkness, all the way to the side of our beds? And the answer begins with pack instinct. Dogs did not come close to humans only because of food. If it had only been about food, they might have remained scavengers forever, hanging around the edges of human camps. They would come, eat, and disappear. But dogs did something different. They stayed. They began to see humans not just as a source of food, but as a new kind of pack. And maybe that is why everything changed. It was not just leftover bones. It was not just convenience. It was something much deeper inside their instincts. Being close together might be safer. But pack instinct is only one part of the story. What truly made dogs different was their ability to read humans. Not every animal understands when you point in a certain direction. Not every animal can tell whether your voice is happy or tense. And certainly, not every animal can sense when you are sad, even before you say a single word. But dogs can. This is why humans did not just leave dogs standing at the edge of the camp. Over time, dogs were allowed to come closer, because the dogs that understood humans better had a better chance of surviving. They knew when to approach. They knew when to step back. They knew when humans were angry, when they were calm, and when danger was coming near. At first, it may have been nothing more than tiny signals. A glance, a hand movement, a strange sound in the night, a slight change in the tone of a voice. But to dogs, those small things were not small at all. The ancestors of dogs were pack animals. Inside a pack, they had to read each other's body language to hunt together, avoid conflict, protect their young, and maintain order. They had to know when one member was afraid, when the leader was tense, and when the entire pack needed to move. When dogs began living near humans, that ability did not disappear. It simply changed direction. Instead of only reading their own kind, dogs began reading humans. And this is what makes them so special. Dogs do not need you to explain things with long sentences. They do not understand language the way humans understand one another, but they understand the rhythm of your emotions. They hear the changes in your voice. They watch your face. They sense the way you walk, the way you breathe, even the way you go silent. There are times when you may think your dog is just lying quietly on the floor, but in reality, it is watching you with a very quiet kind of attention. You walk faster than usual. It notices. You breathe heavier. It notices. You sit still for too long. It notices that too. That is not just habit. That is connection. And if you have ever seen your dog come closer when you are sad, rest its chin on your knee, or lie beside you without disturbing you, hit the like button on this video. Because maybe you have just realized something very real. Your dog understands you more than you think. But the story goes even deeper. Over many generations, the dogs that reacted more gently, cooperated more easily, and looked to humans for signals were often kept closer. Humans fed them, protected them, and allowed them to keep living nearby. Dogs that were too aggressive were pushed away. Dogs that were too fearful could never come close. Only the ones that knew how to connect, how to observe, and how to respond to human emotion had the chance to move deeper into our lives. So dogs were not chosen only for strength. They were chosen for softness, not weakness, but softness in their eyes, softness in the way they approached, softness in the way they learned to trust humans. Maybe that is why, when you look into a dog's eyes, you do not feel like you are staring at a wild animal. You feel like someone is looking back at you, a gaze that knows how to wait, how to listen, how to trust. Many people think dogs are loyal simply because they were raised by humans from a young age. But that loyalty does not come only from food or training. It comes from a very long history, a history where dogs learned that humans could become their pack. And if you have a dog, comment its name below. Because that name is not just the name of a pet. It is the name of a living being carrying thousands of years of connection with humans inside it. Dogs do not live beside us only because they were domesticated. They live beside us because they learned something deeper. Humans can be a safe place. And when a dog sees you as its safe place, it does not just follow you. It watches you. It waits for you. It protects you. And in its own very special way, it loves you. But there is one more thing that makes dogs more special than most other animals. Dogs do not only understand humans through instinct, they also make humans want to take care of them. Think about the way a dog looks at you. Its eyes soften a little. Its face becomes quiet. Its head tilts slightly, as if it is trying to understand every sound you make. Sometimes, it does not do anything dramatic at all. It simply sits there, looks at you, and waits for your reaction. And strangely, that alone is enough to soften the human heart. This is not just because dogs are cute. On a deeper level, a dog's face and behavior touch the caregiving instinct inside humans. Dogs know how to use their eyes. They know how to use silence. They know how to come close at the right moment. They know how to rest their head on your leg, as if saying, "I'm here." People often think dogs depend on humans because they need food. But sometimes, humans depend on dogs too, in a very quiet way. After a long and exhausting day, you open the door and step inside. Maybe the whole world outside does not notice what you have been through, but your dog is different. It runs toward you. It wags its tail. It sniffs you. It looks at you as if your return is the most important thing that happened in its entire day. And in that moment, something inside the human heart begins to soften. Maybe that is also part of the reason dogs have stayed with humans for so long throughout history. Not only because they guarded us, not only because they helped us hunt, not only because they could smell better or hear danger faster than we could, but because they made humans feel less alone. In the ancient world, that mattered more than we realize. Humans back then had to live with hunger, cold, danger, disease, wild animals, and loss. A dog lying near the fire was not just a living alarm system. It was also warmth. It was presence. It was another living creature breathing beside the human group. When humans slept, dogs could stay awake. When danger approached, dogs could hear it first. When the human group moved, dogs moved with them. When humans were sad, dogs stayed. And that is what made them different. Many animals can be raised to serve a specific purpose, but dogs entered many different layers of human life. They became guards, hunting partners, companions, and eventually part of the family. That means the domestication of dogs was not just a story of control. It was a story of exchange. Humans gave dogs food, shelter, and protection. Dogs gave humans alertness, loyalty, and the feeling of being accompanied. One side needed to survive. The other needed to belong. And somewhere between those two needs, a very deep bond was created. Maybe that is why dogs are unlike any other domesticated animal. They do not just learn your commands. They learn your schedule. They do not just recognize your voice. They recognize your mood. They do not just know your house. They know their place in your heart. And the longer dogs lived near humans, the more they became animals shaped by attachment. From ears that know how to listen, to eyes that know how to look for permission, to a tail that starts wagging simply because you walked into the room. That was not an accident. It was the result of thousands of years of two species learning how to trust each other. So when you look at your dog lying quietly beside you, do not think it is only resting. Maybe it is doing something its ancestors did a very long time ago, staying close to humans, keeping the connection, and silently saying, "You are my pack." So in the end, why were humans able to domesticate dogs? The answer is not simply because humans were smarter. It was not only because dogs needed food, and it certainly was not because dogs were born to obey. The deeper truth is this: dogs and humans found something in each other that both sides needed. Humans needed a creature that could warn them of danger, travel with them on hunts, protect the camp, and stay close in the darkness when everything felt uncertain. And dogs needed a new pack, a place with food, a place with warmth, a place where they could belong. In the beginning, it may have been a very simple exchange. Dogs came closer because of leftover food. Humans allowed them to stay because they were useful. But over time, it stopped being only about usefulness. It became attachment. A dog does not guard only because of instinct. It guards because that place holds its humans. It does not follow only because it gets fed. It follows because it does not want to be left behind. It does not look at you only out of curiosity. It looks at you because, in its world, you are the center of safety. And maybe this is what makes dogs different from so many other animals. Dogs did not only learn how to live beside humans, they learned how to live for humans. They learned our voices. They learned our routines. They learned when we are happy, sad, exhausted, or stressed. They even learned the silences that sometimes we ourselves do not know how to explain. And in return, humans changed too. We no longer see dogs as animals standing at the edge of the firelight. We let them step into our homes, then onto our porches, then into our bedrooms, then beside our feet, and eventually into our families. From a creature that once stood in the darkness, the dog stepped into the warmest place in human life. And the strange thing is, they did not need to say a single word to do it. Just one look, one gentle wag of the tail. One time lying beside you when you were sad. One time standing between you and the door when there was a strange sound outside. One time turning its head to check whether you were still there. All those tiny moments carry the same message: I choose you. So when you look at your dog today, remember that this relationship did not begin with a collar, a food bowl, or a training command. It began long before that, with a small fire in the night, with a wolf standing at the edge of the darkness, with a human who did not chase it away, and with the moment two different species realized that being close to each other might be safer. That is why dogs became humanity's best friend. Not because they were forced to love us, but because, over thousands of years, they learned to trust us. And in a very quiet way, humans also learned to need them. If this video made you see your dog differently, subscribe to the channel to keep exploring the emotional and scientific secrets behind dog behavior. Because sometimes, the smallest thing a dog does carries a very long story. And that story always comes back to one thing. To a dog, you are not just an owner. You are its pack. You are its safe place. You are home.